Hey, and good morning, everybody. This is Sherman Ray, and this is Godstream News. Thank you for all being a part of the broadcast. We hope that you stick around to the end. Love to see you. Before we get going, folks, we'd really encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just hit the little like button there and subscribe to our YouTube channel. First up on the news, folks, we have a story out of Blaze Media. China entities own farmland near 19 U.S. military bases across the country. This is a story by Candace Hathaway. China could be using land to surveil military sites. Many of us know about these stories already, where we've been reports that China has been buying up farmland, and peculiar that they are actually very close to military bases. Chinese entities own farmland near 19 U.S. military bases across the nation, according to a recent report from the New York Post. The news outlet released a map showing the locations of the China-owned land in the U.S. and their proximity to some of the nation's most strategically important bases. This is an amazing story, folks, and we want to keep an eye on this story coming up. Another story that is in the news today, folks, is Rand Paul. Oh, let me make sure here. Rand Paul, who's been a senator here in the United States for many, many years, say he might have been right. He was right about the COVID outbreak. Nearly 3 years ago to this month, Anthony Fauci said to Senator Rand Paul, Republican from Kentucky, "You do not know what you're talking about," he said. Paul had said there was evidence that the National Institute of Health had funded gain-of-function research at a research lab in Wuhan, China. "I totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator," Fauci would add. And if anybody's lying here, Senator, it is you. It was one of the most fiery exchanges. In the following weeks and months, Paul would not relent. And as it finds out, evidence has come to light that not only was Senator Paul correct, but he was correct in every aspect of his assertions that Anthony Fauci and his crew had not only funded gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab, but had spent time to cover up the allegations. Planned Parenthood is in the news. Planned Parenthood is planning on spending $40 million ahead of the November's election. This is a story out of SRN News. It's also found on Newsmax. Out of Washington, the Associated Press, Planned Parenthood will spend $40 million ahead of November's elections to bolster President Joe Biden and leading congressional Democrats, betting that voters angry at Republican-led efforts to further restrict access to abortion can be the difference in key races across the country. The political and advocacy arms of the nation's leading reproductive health care provider and abortion rights advocacy organization shared the announcement with the Associated Press before its wider release Monday. This is a big story here, folks. What is going on here is that Joe Biden has spent many, many years saying that he is the poster child for being a Christian, and not only just a Christian, but also a liberal, which is almost anathema that those two could be in the same sentence. But what Joe Biden is now finding out, and what we're finding out as a nation, is not only is Joe Biden a liberal, but some of the things that he espouses are also backed up by the largest abortion provider in the nation, Planned Parenthood. So that's another story. We definitely want to keep an eye on this story. Our next story is about President Joe Biden himself. President Joe Biden is spending a lot of time trying to bolster his and trying to get the voting of the black constituency behind him. And will black voters be once again fooled by the pandering of the Joe Biden administration? A recent spate of recent polls suggest that these voters are far less likely to fall for the same malarkey in 2024. This is a story out of the American Spectator. Despite growing numbers of national and swing state polls that show black voters shifting their support for President Biden to former President Trump, most Democrats and political pundits refuse to give up on this, folks. They refuse to say that they're going to that the black vote will fall away from Joe Biden. But here's the story that most people don't realize is that black voters, though they vote generally lockstep with the Biden administration, are not a monolith. They're not monolithic in that they're going to continue to vote for the embattled president for forever. They won't do it. And so support for President Biden has been waning, especially in the last few weeks, especially with black male voters. And the Democrats are very, very fearful that this could be a trend. And if they lose too much of the black vote, they could particularly lose this election coming up. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on that story. It's a big, big story. The Supreme Court, folks, the Supreme Court is doing so much going on in the Supreme Court that they're taking up a transgender issue. And the headline is out of the AP. The Supreme Court will take up state bans on gender-affirming care for minors. This could be one of the biggest blows to the transgender lobby. This is out of Washington. The Supreme Court on Monday jumped into the fight over transgender rights, agreeing to hear an appeal from the Biden administration seeking to block state bans on gender-affirming care. The justices' action comes as Republican-led states have enacted a variety of restrictions on health care for transgender people, school sports participation, bathroom usage, and drag shows. The administration and Democratic-led states have extended protections for transgender people, including a federal regulation that seeks to protect transgender students. Now, this is one of those stories, folks, that you can't stop keeping your eye on, because it is so egregious that how do you want to put it? What proponents of this of these rulings are trying to do is they're trying to make it easier for children who say that they are transgender to get sex changes, and for doctors to perform these life-altering procedures on them. And Republican-led states are saying, no, we are not going to allow this. The parents need to know about this. You can't give a child an aspirin in school, so how can you keep that information away from a parent? And then take a step further, allow this child to live as something they are not, and then take it even another step forward and allow that child to have a sex change, a life-altering a procedure. And so we want to keep a real big eye on this story. Our last story of the day is and it's a story that's been going on for quite a while now. Daystar Television, Daystar Channel, is cutting ties with Robert Morris. We started this story last week. A Texas-based Christian network, Daystar Television, has removed Gateway Church founder Robert Morris from all its programming in light of a woman's allegations that he sexually abused her in the 80s, starting when she was 12 years of age. In a statement released by Daystar, we are deeply grieved and saddened by the recent and very serious allegations against Pastor Robert Morris involving the sexual abuse of a 12-year-old minor. In light of these events and a recently released statement by Gateway's elders, Daystar's leadership has made the decision to remove all of Pastor Robert Morris's programming from our broadcasting schedule, the network said in a statement released on Tuesday. This is big, folks. This is one of those stories where you say to yourself, man, has the church learned nothing yet as a result of the many pastors who have fallen by the wayside? As an opinion, folks, our Bible, the Bible we all read each and every day, was 2/3 of the New Testament was written by a murderer. The man who's the greatest lawgiver of in the Bible also was a murderer. David was a murderer. Many people who were in the Bible were just fallen, but had fallen like you wouldn't believe. And so the church should, in our estimation here at Godstream Network, the church should take this as an opportunity to do more, to embrace the people who are fallen, and not only embrace the people who are fallen, but hopefully bring them back from the brink. So we hope that happens. So we want to thank you once again, folks, for being a part of the broadcast. Head on over to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our channel. Also go to our website at godstream.org/news, because we're on a news channel on godstream.org. We'd love for you to be there. We've just hit over about 150 people on Facebook, so we're very excited about that. And if you would like to have your broadcast, if you have a ministry, you have a church, you have maybe an organization that has family-friendly broadcasting, write us at godstream7@gmail.com. That's godstream7@gmail.com. And we would like to put that on TV. So get a hold of us, folks. Thank you once again for being a part of the broadcast. It's been Sherman Ray for Godstream News. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.